Guys, welcome back to the podcast. This week we're joined by Hoffman, Kyle Crunk, and Zebra Wolf, aka Alex. We're going to be talking about Hawkeye Episode 3, Andrew Garfield's first Spider-Man movie, and any other nerdy news from the week. So, without further ado, give our boys a warm welcome. Here they come. Gentlemen. Hello, hello.
Hey, what's up, chap?
Hey,
yo, it's the chap himself.
What's up, guys? How are we?
What up, Vindo?
How are we? Happy Friday.
Fantastic.
Happy Friday.
How's your week been, man?
Happy Friday.
I'm clinking
Cheers.
a few beers tonight.
Oh, he's cracking one open already.
Oh, I was watching Wheel of Time with my dinner, and I had a beer, so I'm on my second one now.
I thought it was because we were on the Amazing Spider-Man. We're actually watching good Spider-Man content, so you're just excited.
Ooh, hell yeah, dude. Bro, like, I gotta say, like, you know, I don't want to jump the gun too quickly because I think we need to talk about Hawkeye first, but that Andrew Garfield movie is fucking good, dude.
Underrated.
Yeah.
Underrated, definitely.
Highly underrated.
Very much so. How was the week, gentlemen?
Oh, it's
It was a week.
fantastic.
Yeah.
There was a
It was
Monday and then a Tuesday. Happened to be a Wednesday, Thursday, and here we are on the Friday. That was my...
I just absolutely adore that we're like back on getting like Disney Plus content, and we're rewatching old like comic book content. It's like my week is just full of like comic book like movies and stuff. Like it feels complete. This is how I was feeling like during Loki and stuff. Like I like this vibe where we're checking out other stuff, and then
It's
get
actual
Disney Plus
good
new
Disney
stuff.
Plus content, too. It's not... it's Disney Plus content that you kind of want to see.
I really enjoy the midweek for the new episode. So, like, I love that Hawkeye drops on a Wednesday. I like, you know, as nice as it is doing the content fresh on a Friday or something, I feel that it would nearly be too much, like, to do on a Friday for me anyway. Like, cause like, you know, I'm busy on a Friday as it is, and then having to watch the episode and then get live straight away, it's tough. So for me, like, I like breaking up the week. I love having it on a Wednesday, and having a couple of days to let it soak and you know, watch a bit of, you know, nerdy breakdowns and stuff like that, and just kind of really relish the episode, you know. And then sometimes if it's really good, I'll have watched it a second time before we talk. So, but yeah,
I was this close to rewatching this episode again, like this close.
yeah.
Oh man, I had to rewatch it a few times just to like get every bit of information. Yeah, just to get every bit of information.
Hell yeah, dude.
But
Hell yeah.
But in addition to that, like I've been watching I started watching The Punisher. I finished season 2 of Daredevil, and yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that prison scene, bro. That prison scene.
Whew.
Castle goes in wearing a white jumpsuit. He comes out and it's red.
Red.
Say no more. Oh, it's
Like-
fucking amazing.
We are never gonna get better than like Daredevil and Punisher from Netflix because now we only live in Disney Plus. And like Hawkeye's a great show. It would be made better if they could be more violent in it. You know what I mean? Like Hawkeye and Ronan feel like violent characters, especially Ronan. And so like when you go back and like see the Daredevil stuff and like just how like in your face, visceral, their blood, they're breaking noses, they're doing all this stuff. We're never getting that on Disney Plus. Like it's such a letdown that we don't have Netflix or Hulu even to like bounce these off of.
Yeah, like I really think that, you know, there's a massive, and I've said this many times on the podcast, there's a massive market for like rated or comic book content. All you have to do is see how good those two shows, or all the Netflix shows did, and the like screaming success that is Deadpool, you know. And if they could get some sort of like a rated or division on Netflix, like, you know, Disney Plus, like Black Label or something, man, it'd be insane.
Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Disney Plus.
Premium
Disney X.
Plus.
They just turn the plus sign like sideways and you're like, you're in Disney X now.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool, bro. It'd be like the X-Men
That would
X.
be really cool.
Be like the X-Men X.
It's an extra like $5 on your subscription. Honestly, we've been saying that for the better part of 2 years now, that we think that we've been saying that as long as we've been alive at this point. For 30 years, at least, I've been saying I want more rated R content with my service.
Well, it makes me concerned.
$5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
If it was more than if it wasn't more than one like flagship series, if it wasn't just like one flagship series and a bunch of like half-ass stuff, if it felt like they were actually putting like, let's say, Blade, maybe some Deadpool content, like stuff like that. If there was a couple options, 100%.
there's so many options, and like I think even Moon Knight is set to be pretty dark. So like, you know, maybe they're dampening it down a bit too much or something, but because it's obviously going on Disney Plus. But it's curious to see like how dark that show will be. I feel like I already feel like it could be a lot darker. You know,
it actually makes me concerned.
Yeah,
it actually makes me very concerned because like the comics are pulling up on Marvel Unlimited, and holy jeez, I am excited to see what kind of direction they take this, because that second issue, whoo. It wasn't just like the first issue was pretty
hang on. Hit me with that woo again.
Woo!
Okay, there we go.
That's a Spider-Man jumping off the building. Woo!
Yeah.
Woo!
But yeah, like the first issue was very, it's bloody. It kind of shows off like what kind of person Moon Knight is, and then the second episode shows the internal side, which dark so good. Say, yeah. Super dark. Like it's a moment in the comic where the dude is about to try to mind control Moon Knight, and he's like, "Go ahead, taste my blood or sweat."
Yeah.
Damn.
Or no, he tastes the sweat from the other guy because that's what he uses to mind control. And then all of a sudden he goes into his mind and he's like, "You don't want to be here." And it's just he's like on the floor. He's like dead. He's just distraught from all the horror.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Do you think they're teeing up that the TV show to be kind of based off that comic book run, or do you think they're just releasing them like kind of together but totally different stories, totally different takes?
It really depends, because it seems like from the Moon Knight that I'm reading, it seems a little more recent. Like it's already established that Mark Spector becomes Moon Knight. In this aspect, it seems like we're going to get an origin where we see like the many faces from it. And then maybe it'll fulminates, and then we'll see that moment where we get to see the inside of the brain, and we get to see like all the craziness, and we get to see Khonshu, and I think it's going to work well. It just depends on how dark they want to get. It doesn't necessarily have to get bloody. I just think it needs to be almost horrifying at times.
Yeah, Joe in the chat says it looks like a mix of a couple of runs, and I don't have any kind of IQ or about Moon Knight, so I can't even contribute to this conversation. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just curious because I saw the news that they're getting ready to tee up another run for She-Hulk in 2022, and that's kind of wrapped around the same time the She-Hulk Disney Plus show is coming up, I think. So like it looks like Marvel's really starting to try and kind of catch tailwind off their series and stuff, where I think they kind of missed that boat. For basically all the Avengers movies and all that, they kind of missed what was going on.
Oh, like kind of like when there's like a boat, that entire show that doesn't go anywhere at the end.
What show are you talking about, Kyle?
It's like Voldemort. I'm not saying the name.
Yeah, look, I just think I really think that Disney would be onto a winner if they got like a kind of over 18s kind of style. And like, I don't know about you guys, but like, do you guys have Star from Disney on your Disney Plus apps over there? It's called Star. It's like a subdivision of Disney Plus, and you get all these like adult shows and stuff. That's where like Dope Sick is and stuff like that for us over here. So we have
Dope Sick's on Hulu for us.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is like Hulu trying to get into Europe or something, but we have on the Disney Plus app, there's a, like, the way at the top, it's like, Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, all that shit. They have like at the end, it's called Star, and when you click into Star, it's all it's like this likes of Dope Sick and Sons of Anarchy and all this mad stuff's on it. So I don't know if it's just an EU thing for us because we don't get a lot of the US shows. So it's interesting to me. The point I'm trying to make is just that it's interesting to me that they would have a show like Dope Sick for us in EU on Disney Plus. It's kind of crazy. Right. You know what I mean? So that tells me that they don't really mind if there's like mature content that goes up on the app. So I don't see why they wouldn't do a full-blown Punisher, a full-blown Deadpool, full-blown Daredevil, all this sort of stuff. Like, so I don't know. I think they're missing out on something if they don't.
Well, I think what stars sound like for us is kind of like FX, where that would be kind of a more mature audience. I don't know if you guys got that overseas, but it's from Fox, it was like their TV station. their kind of cable TV that had like some really good, really darker shows that were more visceral about like killing people and stuff, kind of like Dope Sick, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they will ever do something like that. Maybe bring the Fox label back and like put some of their like R-rated stuff under the Fox label on Disney Plus or something like that, because I think that could work too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Sharky's actually Canadian, and he's saying he has Star, so it must just be a US thing. You guys obviously don't have it, because he has it in Canada.
He's talking about American Horror Story. That was on FX, so it's got to be that.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like Star is kind of a combination of a few of the networks that you guys only have over there that we don't get in EU or anywhere outside of the US.
How weird is this? Like living
it's
in
so
2021, where it's like we have a global community of entertainment now, and it's like it's so like siloed off still and like different. Like, just stop it,
dude. It's crazy. Like anytime I travel for work, I bring my laptop with me, and like if I'm in a hotel room staying over in England or France or fucking like Poland or any of these places, every time I boot up Netflix, I'm in a completely different library no matter where I am. The second I leave Ireland, I've got a completely different library of content to watch. Like, it's crazy. So like some days you'll you'll be in a hotel room in like Budapest or something, and you'll boot up Netflix and it'll be incredible. There'll be so much content, and you're like, oh my god, I wish I lived here. Like, and then you come back to Ireland and it's shit. Like,
what you doing in Budapest, bro? You want to talk to us about some things?
I cannot. It's classified. Budapest. No, my company has an office over there. I had to go over and do a site visit, so I got to visit Budapest for free. It was actually great.
That's how the story always goes, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, his company. Wink.
Shield.
Well, at this point, I
they
think
have
a
an
VPN.
office over there.
Yeah.
I think at this point a VPN would be applicable now, just to catch on a lot of things, and so I'm actually going to look into that because I really like to check out all the things that you guys are watching as well.
Dude, Zavin is playing Fortnite on EU at 60 ping, like using his VPN, like, and he's NA West. You know what I mean? So, there's a lot to be said for it. Like, what do they call like Shark VPN and all these things? There's like $10 a month or something like that, and you can literally just bounce around the globe. I think a lot of people would even use it just as a security measure in case they get hacked. It appears you're like, for me, I would just set my IP as if I'm in France or something like that. Like, people haven't got a clue where I am. It's interesting. Anyway, without further ado, let's go into Hawkeye episode 3.
Woo!
Round table first, boys. What do we think? Give us a rating out of 10 for this episode. Just this
Bro,
episode.
Like 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. It kind of slowed down a little bit, so it missed the 10 out of 10. This is like one of the best episodes I've seen on Disney Plus out of all the series, man. Like, it had everything I wanted, and like finally, after 3 episodes, Hawkeye gets to fire his fucking bow, and it was magical, bro. It was so good.
Yeah. I was just sitting there thinking, like, I'm a big Green Arrow fan and stuff like that. And I was just sitting there thinking, like, I'd love to know, is Stephen Amell watching this show now going, these motherfuckers are doing arrows so much cooler than we did it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. That Pim Tech arrow, bro. My god.
Oh my.
I
That
screamed.
Beautiful.
I screamed, bro. I was like, yes. I was like, this is amazing. I was fucking loving it. Oh, it was incredible. Kyle.
Yeah,
what's that rating?
8.5. I was gonna say 8.5 out of 10. There were so many like little things I was telling you, and I know Hoffman appreciated this, that car chase scene with the constant 360 camera pan that they did. That was
it was cool. It felt like you were sitting in the back seat. Like, it felt like you were actually in the car.
Good.
Yeah.
I would really love to see like a behind the scenes on that scene specifically.
We'll get it.
Because I mean, like, I don't know how, like, there's no way Jeremy Renner's driving that car, right? But it looks like he is. But like, how's he doing all the stunts? Jeremy Renner's doing those stunts? Come on. But it was seamless.
I think all of the inside, all the cockpit scenes, I think were all green screen.
Right. And so then they had to blend that with stuff they did in real life. Like, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's nuts, dude. Like, it's getting so insane. Like, even I was watching the new episode of Wheel of Time today, and I'm just like, I don't know what's real and what isn't real in the show right now. Like, they're walking through this, they get to this city, and I'm like, is this real? Is it not? My girlfriend was telling me they put like a massive amount of money into building sets and stuff. I'm like, how much of this is fucking real? How much isn't? Like, you don't know anymore. It's insane. It's insane.
That's what I love about this technology, is it's improving. We can't tell anymore.
Yeah, and it's getting cheaper to make as well. So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if it was, could you imagine COVID happened 20 years ago? when like, you know, the box office, it was so important to make actual fucking money for movies. Like, could you imagine how, like, if they, you know, around the time of Iron Man 1, when the MCU was just getting started, if we went into a 2-year pandemic, like, the Marvel would be dead. Like, they wouldn't be able to afford to make movies. Like now they're making Shang-Chi for $150 million, like, and they're making nearly 400 off it. So, you know, it's not great, but they're still nearly tripling their money. So, you know what I mean, that's one movie.
I'll take a cool $300 million any day. All right, I'll take it.
Of course. But, you know, everything was... Hollywood was obsessed about getting the billion all the time. You know what I mean? Now it's like, you know, they're celebrating 400. You know, so if this was 10, 15 years ago, 400, they'd be out of business. Like, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Crazy.
Well, I also give it a 9. I really I love a good origin story, and it's set up so well. And then even after the origin, the conversation between Echo and Hawkeye it was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I really enjoyed that scene. I had a great time like seeing the interaction, and then eventually it turning into a firefight. And just the transition to the car, like everything was just beautiful. Like, well done. We learned about Echo, and it was quick, it was easy, and it meant something. And I went through the comics to see like how accurate this was compared to it, and it's pretty close. Yeah. It's actually really close.
Yeah. I loved the episode. You know, there's one or two pivotal moments in the episode that just made the show for me already, and we're only episode 3 in, you know. I would probably give it a 9 out of 10. I think is a very, very solid score. You know, I love there was a lot in the episode that I don't know if it was intentional or not, but did you guys notice that when you were watching it, like the sound of the episode, it sound like the audio sounded a bit strange, as if it was kind of muffled through scenes, and I think it was done like that on purpose, just to, you know. But like there was very obvious scenes where they were doing it, but there were scenes like even during the chases and stuff where the sound didn't sound as if it was 100%.
I feel like they were doing it. They were kind of like tuning it like that in like mid scene to where like you'd hear a couple.
Yeah, and I think it's just to kind of put you inside Clint's head, and you know, I thought that was very clever. Obviously the Wilson Fisk scene was just mind blowing. Like, you know, incredible.
That whole them saying to Echo as a kid, like, you're gonna have to learn to live in both worlds, and then seeing that, like we're now seeing Clint go through that.
Yeah,
that was one of the things I enjoyed the most about that, because now he does everything so well, but like he almost seems useless, crippled without that hearing aid.
I believe the actress who plays Echo is actually deaf as well, if I'm not mistaken. So, Jeremy Renner actually learned basic sign language to speak to her during the filming of the show, which is just, I love hearing shit like that. Like, you know, where
that's crazy.
Yeah, there's like actual like off-scene chemistry, and, you know, a fucking, like, you know, an extra effort put in by the actual actors. Like, I just think it makes it special on screen, and it really comes across. So the Wilson Fisk thing for me, like.
Also interesting with that actress, real quick. Like, she also has a real prosthetic leg, and so they changed the character of Echo to have a prosthetic leg because the actress actually has one in real life, which is like them, like, just, this is her, this is like this actress, and like, here we go.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's cool.
It's so cool.
So everything she does is like she's doing herself, because she's pretty badass out there.
Yeah, and to jump on the origin part with what Alice is talking about, one of the biggest things in the MCU, especially on Disney Plus, that's annoying me, is they just introduce these characters who like are just absolutely taking these characters that we love. Like all the people in Loki beating the hell out of Loki for no reason, right? Yeah. The Flag Smashers beating up Captain or Falcon and Winter Soldier. And you're like, what? Like, this doesn't make sense. And so you have someone like Echo come along who's like really keeping up with Hawkeye, and he's like an Avenger. He's a fully fledged Avenger. He fights aliens and Thanos. And they establish an origin story with her to like kind of show you like, hey, she's been doing this. Like, she's been in this since she was like 4 or 5, like doing this stuff, just like Hawkeye probably was, or whatever it is. And so like it establishes that for you, and it gives this feel of like being authentic that it makes it so much better. That's what the MCU is missing right now, is making things feel authentic.
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree. And I also want to add that they're on equal ground. Like, they're both master marksmanships. They both have like very good sets of skills, and they're, you know, once you see the hearing aid being knocked out and crushed, now it's like complete equal footing. It's nuts. Again, it's beautiful.
I was so
For me-
impressed. Sorry, go ahead, Kyle.
I was gonna say one thing that they've really got across that they never did in the movies as well as they are in the show is like the actual quick on your feet decision making ability, taking in all this information that Clint has to do in his position and as like someone without superpowers. And like you see it the way they break down these scenes, like holy, in 1 second he's noticing this guy here, there, he's taking a shot already, like, and the way they slow it down, the way they filmed it is just really like, it's insane, and you really get an appreciation for like what he's actually out here doing.
Yeah,
And you really do. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Vinto.
No, you're fine. Go.
I was just gonna say that with Kate Bishop, you really get a feel of this like master apprentice work. You know, she's having trouble trying to figure out which arrow to use because he already has an idea of like what's in his quiver, and everything that they're doing and interacting with, she's making all kinds of mistakes.
The
And
plunger arrow.
As you would though, if you like, she's only ever shot like basic arrows, so she like anyone would have trouble going into somebody else's quiver. It's like, what the fuck is this? What does this one do? What's that one? Like, I just thought that was it made a lot of sense rather than her just kind of firing off arrows and getting the right one each time. I thought that would have just been stupid. It wouldn't have made any sense. So I thought it was very clever and also provided a good bit of comedy as well, which was intelligent as well. Like, I think she does the serious part and the funny like side of acting very well. I think she's such a great cast. I think we were definitely speaking about it last week, and it's just it's I love the chemistry between the two of them. It's just it's kind of like a father-daughter thing. I always kind of thought when I heard of Kate Bishop originally, before I knew anything about her, I always thought it was Hawkeye's daughter, growing up, like, so because you always kind of see the father-daughter like relationship between them. So I was shocked when I originally found out that it actually wasn't his daughter. But yeah, like I loved so much about that episode. The Pym tech was just so amazing. It was just such a great scene. So good. I love that the Challenger got trashed, even though he was like, "We're not stealing the Challenger," like, when they definitely should have stolen the Challenger.
And it gets totaled anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
Could someone explain to me the acid arrows and like why it was so important to drop the stoplights? That was my only thing. I was like, all right, Hawkeye, was the plan there?
Thank you. He's like, drop those stoplights, and she hits nice shots, and they looked cool. And I was like, and we accomplished who? What?
No.
Were they trying to just cross? Were they
that.
trying to cross traffic and try to block people off or something?
Literally, there was no payoff. They showed zero payoff to those arrows.
Yeah, they're just destroying city property. That's all they're doing.
Yeah, just municipal funds wasted, Hawkeye. Thank you.
I get fucking stuck there on the way to work every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love when Clint kind of tips the hat to her at the end. It's like, you actually probably are one of the best marksmen, like one of the best archers in the world. Like, I thought that was really cool.
When they're talking over each other because he's got his hearing aid out. Like,
yeah, it's so funny. I think we should check out the dog. We need to feed him. It's like the exact thing that
imagine having to act that because he can hear her, so he's doing that with like a complete straight face. Like,
Jeremy Renner's been very funny in this season, like, and it's not, we haven't really seen much comedy, if any comedy really, out of him till now. And I think he's kind of cracking the dad jokes and kind of in a way and stuff, like, and it's very funny.
Speaking of the dog, though, did they name the dog before, or were we just naming it Pizza Dog, and then they kind of like
they just confirmed,
made it canon?
They confirmed Pizza Dog.
Gotcha.
I believe he is referred to as Pizza Dog in the comic books.
They confirmed Pizza Dog.
Yeah,
Lucky the Pizza Dog.
Yeah.
I mean, this like to go along with like his comedy and stuff. It's just Jeremy Renner really doesn't get to act that much in the MCU. It's very few moments where it's like kind of subtle. Like his scene in Endgame where he was like getting mad over losing Black Widow. It was kind of cheesy. It was very awkward, right? Like, I don't think it was directed that well. But then you got the scene where when he's sitting in the diner talking to Kate, and like he says that line, he's like, "I'm not a role model." Like, that whole scene just like hit me so hard. Like, he hates himself still. Like, he still hates himself for what he's done. Like,
I thought you were gonna go down that road where he said Natasha Romanoff, and they had it muted. They like, who killed Ronan? He says Natasha Romanoff, and then they signed Black Widow. That was a good one too.
That's good.
'Cause that pulls you back to like that moment when Natasha pulled him away from that life and stuff. So it's like those are big scenes.
It's just like it's Jeremy Renner when they pull him in and they give him like smaller acting moments where it's like it's about being more subtle and stuff. Like he hits so much harder, and that's this Oscar nominated Jeremy Renner. Like he's got films under him.
Yeah.
It's just the MCU tries to get him to go so big, and it's like almost out of his range, right?
Yeah.
So he gets these moments in this show, and just like it's so good, man. Like I forget how good he is sometimes.
How much would you pay for an Easter egg or a nod to like Hurt Locker in just one MCU film? Like he's got to put on a bomb suit. And he says like, "Damn it."
That'd be
That's what he should have worn at the Ren Fair. He should have worn a bomb suit instead of a knife.
That would have been fucking great.
Oh.
I went back and watched the second episode again just to kind of watch the Ren Fair scenes and stuff like that, and it was just fucking great. Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yep.
So good. Yeah, I just kind of did I have a few notes on the episode? Yeah, just the all the death scenes I thought were really well done. And I was surprised at how good of a fighter Clint was, even with no hearing. Because I thought the second I saw the hearing aid get crushed, I was like, oh no, he's done for. Like that's it. Like he won't be able to defend himself or anything. And just that whole fucking sequence. As I said, I'm like a massive fan of archery and everything, and just every shot that he was hitting was just beautiful. Like
the
like
sound effects of the bow.
Yeah, so good. And even like the guy who kind of gets his hand caught, the guy who's trying to shoot him and his hand literally gets stuck to the wall, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like so good. And then Kate hitting a couple of good shots as well. Like I'm just I can't wait. I don't know if you saw, there was I think Disney released a kind of it was like an advertisement, and it was like, this month on Disney Plus on the lead up to Christmas and stuff, and they actually showed a couple of new shots from the next episode, and they showed a character who is appearing in the next episode, and it's Yelena basically. Like she's got like her
allegedly
her mask on from the comics. Like it's the same mask with all the kind of Splinter Cell kind of green fucking shit, like, and also yeah, allegedly, but it's definitely her. we know she's making an appearance, like, but that's going to be very interesting because, like, again, we've just mentioned Black Widow in the last episode, and then I'm going to presume that Yelena is going to think that maybe Kate had something to do with her death. The two of them might face off, and then Clint will come in and be like, "What are you talking about? Obviously, I had nothing to do with her death," and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Two things. Do we think that the voice we heard in the very beginning during the Echo's origin, do you think that's Vincent D'Onofrio? Do you think that's his voice?
Yeah, I saw a comparison.
I would think so.
I saw a comparison of the laughs. There's someone snipped a laugh of him from Daredevil and the laugh from the episode, and they're almost identical. Like,
oh my god, it's
exciting. The guy with the black suit.
It's gonna be so exciting.
3-piece black suit, huge guy walks up, puts his hand on her. He's wearing the cufflinks and everything. It's D'Onofrio. Yeah. Like, it's 100% him. 100%. 100%. There's all these reports that we're going to get like a CGI fat suit version of him and all this stuff, like, and like they're going for him like from like the Amazing Spider-Man comic books and stuff, like, so the MCU version of him is going to be he's going to be a big boy. So
I can't wait.
Yeah, dude, it's exciting.
Secondly, I don't want to give too much away about the show where it could go, but do we think that was really Ronan who killed Echo's dad in this thing? We see it under Ronan, but like, do you think it's really him? Do you think Jeremy Renner is just like, just frag those dudes like that?
What remind me was the flashback, because the flashback was Echo fully grown, right? So it wasn't that.
No, the flashback was Echo as a child, and her dad was in the tracksuit gang, and he got stabbed. And Hawkeye does say later in the episode he took out upper management. So
okay,
I think he did murk them. I think they're dead. He killed people that he thought were bad guys. Maybe again they were pawns in the Kingpin's greater scheme. So I think maybe Echo is going to be used to. She's going to get pulled out of that whole world by the end of this series, and it's going to be like, yeah, your uncle this whole time, he's pretty much who killed your dad because he had him doing this shady shit.
She was fully grown though. She wasn't a child when he died, because she was trying to rescue. Well, it was 5. It was like within the 5 years between Endgame, like the blip, like it was in the blip, like, so she's 5.
When he was
I forgot there were so many flashbacks.
Yeah.
There was the flashback as the introduced. I don't even know if in the kid flashback if they had insinuated that he was in the tracksuit game.
Oh yeah, because
So,
he's
you're
in
right.
he's in a tracksuit.
Or he's in the
gym.
tracksuit, but I don't think they show him doing anything like illicit like they do in that later.
It's just it's confirmed. What I love about that flashback scene as well is that sets place in 2007, and it confirms that Fisk has been in the shadows the entire time for the MCU, which is fucking crazy. He's been there the entire time for the entire like duration of the MCU. He's been there. It's crazy. It's amazing.
I love it.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. How good was her dad too, man? That actor,
Yeah,
like he was so good, bro.
Did you notice
fantastic.
that because how she's drawn in the comic books, she has the handprint on her face. Did you notice the blood
Yeah.
the blood print? I was
Like right on the side.
I was like, ooh, comic book reference. Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, it does follow the same suit in terms of the origin. In the comics, Fisk tells Echo that I believe it's either Hawkeye or Ronin caused the death of her father, and so he sends her out to go assassinate him. So we're kind of seeing that fitting story, but in a different perspective.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be wild once we get to that point where we see Fisk, and yeah, like I can't wait to see how big they make him.
He's
I
gonna
hope
be.
he's
gonna be.
into Spiderverse.
I know, like
No,
you just
That's all. Like I've seen a lot of like photoshops of like D'Onofrio's face on that body. I'm like, that's too far. But apparently they're gonna go. You know, in like the Spider-Man comics or the Spider-Man cartoons and stuff, where he has like the white suit with the purple kind of like scarf on and stuff. You know that version of him.
Mm-hmm.
That's apparently what they're kind of.
Oh, bro, I'm ready.
Yeah, dude. I don't know if you guys have my stream up, but there's a picture here.
No, I actually just got done unsubbing and unfollowing it. So
that's apparently this is what Elaine is gonna look like. This is her from episode 4.
oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that TikTok you sent me.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
That's
So,
just the new Splinter Cell show they're making, where they ginger swap Sam Fisher.
yeah. So this is her in the comic books. That's her in the comics. So
Okay.
like it's fairly accurate.
Oh, she looks so much cooler in the comics. It's like a spider lights above her. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like so much better.
yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
Beast.
Oh God, there's a beast.
There's
We're
a beast. We're beasting.
such a pointless fucking thing.
I know.
Because it was pointless before, but it's even worse now that they're like charging for proper boosts or whatever.
Is
Like,
that live?
I think they've like because I
I
know
baited it somewhere.
I know it used to be so. Say if like a boost started on a Friday for me and I take a Saturday off, it would continue on the Sunday. But now every time I get one on a Friday, when I log in on Sunday, it's like your boost ended, like, and it's pointless. Like, so it's just fucking stupid. But hey,
So
thanks for contributing, guys.
We're
So
beasting.
Finto, I sent you some Wilson Fisk pictures on the podcast section.
Will
You wanna take a look at those?
Will you throw them up because it'll be easier?
Yeah. How about you
Just
draw-
so,
Sure.
so the guys could see them without going into the podcast and everything.
Yeah.
I need
Yeah,
to.
of course.
I need to get a.
Did you say you were graduating soon? Why don't you act like it?
Trying to be professional here.
I'm. Oh yes, bro. That's the one. That's the version of him from the game, right?
I need the cigar. I really want them to have like the cigar.
Isn't that the version of him from the game?
Yeah, from Marvel Spider-Man.
Yeah. I think he's gonna look more like if you search the '90s Spider-Man cartoon version. You'll get a bit. I think that's what they're kind of trying
Careful.
to.
Here we go. We're gonna see the
There
dirty
he
stuff
is. That's the
There it
boy.
is.
There he is.
Oh,
Yeah, that's him. That's
that's
what
a
they're.
big one.
That's what they're going for. Apparently.
Big
now. Oh
dude.
my god, yes.
Yeah, it's fucking great, dude. Yes.
Huge.
They
Yes.
should
huge.
use that actor from The Shield. I can't remember his name, but that dude.
No, it's
Definitely
it's
both.
it's D'Onofrio or bust. But what I find very clever that what they're doing is because like the version of him in Daredevil is just like a kind of like not a big like he's a big dude, but he's not like he's not going to be able to fight Spider-Man, for example. Like whereas this version of him is kind of he's nearly kind of superhuman in a way, and that version of Kingpin is able to like almost crush Spider-Man if he like can grab him and like kind of put pressure on him. So I find it interesting that that's the kind of way that they're going with it, because it seems like they're going to try and match him up against some like superheroes. Like, you know, he's not going to be going up against Daredevil, who's just a deaf dude who knows martial arts, or sorry, blind dude who knows martial arts. Like, so like, oh, bro, like I think they've got big plans for Kingpin going forward.
Yeah, they definitely need like a big. Like, I don't know if they're gonna bring him into like the MCU movie verse, but they definitely need like a big character, villain wise, who's connecting all these Disney Plus shows. You're gonna have She-Hulk taking place in New York. Miss Marvel, what's her name? The little one. That's in New York. Like, you got a lot of New York based shows that like, hey, might be connecting them all.
Hell yeah.
Echo coming out. Like Echo's getting her own show. Like yeah.
That's gonna be like Echo has been described as Daredevil season 4, so you know that's basically a Daredevil show. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Fisk showing up in the next Tom Holland trilogy as well, the college trilogy that just got announced. Like that would be that'd be a very clever like place to put him and like let him enter the movies there, because you know it's he's such a classic Spider-Man / Daredevil villain, and if the rumors are true, we're going to be seeing Daredevil in Spider-Man, and the two of them are going to get to meet. So, you know, that's what the rumors are saying. And I think you're going to have Daredevil, Kingpin interacting with each other very soon. And then I think, you know, if you have that relationship between Matt Murdock and Peter Parker develop, then, you know, maybe Matt Murdock turns to Spidey, I need your help with something, like, you know, there's a criminal underground happening, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, you can kind of see where they're going with it. Like, you know, there's definitely going to be a way to introduce them into it.
I can't stand Tom Holland. Like, can I just, like, I don't know if here's Tom Holland. Oh man, I don't want to be playing Spider-Man for too long. And oh yeah, we're gonna do another trilogy, and then I'm gonna also be in 2+ movies. So I got 5 total coming out. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, bro, like nice negotiation tactic. We see you.
I could have sworn he said that he was planning to be, like, I thought he said if he was playing Spider-Man after the age of 30, like that, you know, he's done something right. But I think what he was saying is that he was saying that he was going to be doing something wrong if he was still in the role. And I think it's a contract negotiation. Like, from what I've heard, he gets paid extremely little compared to some of the rest of the MCU people. Like, and like he's the centerpiece, like, for the MCU going forward. So like he needs to be getting bank 100%. Like, how long can you be Spider-Man? Like, you know, like realistically 10-15 years at most. Now I know he joined young, but even still, like, I think he was about 20 when he joined. Like, you know what I mean? If he gets 15 years out of it, like, you know, that's amazing. Like, so yeah, I don't know, I think he just needs to be getting fucking paid. He deserves it.
Who do you got left? Like, you got Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, Thor, and like Guardians. Like, that's the face of the MCU right now. And like, for whatever reason, the Guardians never feel like the face of the MCU. Like, they're the cool kids in the back, right? Like, they don't feel like they're center stage.
They're never on Earth.
Right.
Yeah.
Neither is Captain
They're like
Marvel,
the meanwhile group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not even in the galaxy.
Right. But like, you know, it's like Captain Marvel was like the face of the MCU. Tom Holland, Spider-Man is. And like, it was Black Panther, but you know, we lost my man. And like, it's just like we don't have anybody. Like, it feels so empty. We don't have the Captain America. We don't have Iron Man. Like, Thor, kind of like, what's gonna happen with Thor? Like maybe he comes back in a big way, but I guess like you're right. Tom Holland needs to get paid, bro. Like, it's Spider-Man right now. That's it.
Yeah. Like, they need X-Men and they need Fantastic Four quick.
Yeah.
Well,
ASAP.
This is what I like about this, like, this whole scheme right now, is that we're no longer out in space. We're no longer looking at cosmic entities. That's behind us for now. For now.
For a very short period.
We just got done with Eternals. You need to slow your roll.
But even then, after watching Eternals, it's like, I'm really happy to be on the ground for just a while.
I love
to
the
just
street
get
level stuff, dude. I love it so
yeah,
much.
it's amazing.
Especially after watching these Spider-Man and like feeling like you're a part of the city again. Like every other last time, like in the MCU, most of the time when they're in New York, it feels like this could be New York right now, or this could be in Dubai. Like, who gives a shit? There's just buildings getting crushed.
So
because they're in fucking Georgia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not in New
They're
York.
in Georgia.
Like, you can feel it. You can really feel it, bro.
We need to blame Limey for that.
Do you think that the next trilogy, like kind of like, you know, the way Toby moves into the city when he goes to college and he's living with Harry and stuff, do you think they do that with Tom? Like, do you think Tom has inherited a bunch of Stark money and he has this big fucking amazing penthouse suite in New York with all the tech and everything, and he's building suits and all? I kind of see that's where it's going, because, like, you know, everyone kind of jokes and calls him a little mini Tony Stark, but, like, I think that's what they're trying to do. Like, you know, they want to kind of keep the tech part alive, the Stark tech and all this sort of shit. And Pym tech is obviously coming into the fold now, and we're getting Hammer back for Armor Wars and stuff. So it's going to be very much like that game, the Avengers game, where there's all the different tech companies like building shit and everything. So I would absolutely see. I don't know if you've ever seen in like the Batman comics, there's like runs where Bruce Wayne has like a penthouse apartment in Gotham City, and he has like a Batcave under it, and it's like fucking, it's epic, dude. Like, so like sometimes he'll live in the city and he's not like in the outskirts, and he just goes down into his Batcave under Gotham, and all. It's amazing. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw like Tom Holland get like a little kind of cool penthouse like that. Like, that'd be sweet.
Well, like, one, his college years, he has to be in New York. Like, they have to get his Spider-Man in New York. After, like you said, Kyle said, after seeing these two, the Andrew Garfield run and the Toby, like, Tom's got to get in New York. Spider-Man's so much better when he's in New York City. There's just no other city compares to New York when it comes to that character. It's him.
Yeah.
But, and like, maybe they take him down this road where he's like Tony Stark. He's got a penthouse. He's got lavish things. But I also see a storyline they want to do, especially because of all the online chatter, about where he has to like prove himself that he can do it on his own, so he doesn't take any of Tony's money. Like, he's like, I'm doing this on my own, and I'm making it on my own, so I'm gonna go live in this tiny studio that's like a rundown thing, and like back to basics, because he wants to prove himself that he can do it. I totally see that storyline happening.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't Pepper still alive though?
Yep.
Shouldn't, like, so in the meantime, I would say that I agree with Hoffman on this, in the fact that, you know, maybe he's just going to go off and do his own thing because Pepper can handle it. Happy can handle it for now, you know, depending on how things go in the following movie. But we're definitely going to see a lot of changes, but I do think that Pepper's just going to hold on to the company, and Tom Holland, Spider-Man, is going to do his own thing, just like Hoffman said.
I still thought just the way that the last movie went, and this movie like literally takes place minutes after the last one. He's like on the ship and he's making suits and all this stuff. He's still very much reliant on Stark Tech, so I think you might be right, but I think we're a while away from seeing him depart from all that. Like, he still has the glasses, and, you know, while he has no like interaction or running of Stark Industries, he's still very much so reliant on Stark Tech.
Well, I think what's going to happen is, I think Pepper's going to treat Peter as like kind of like a protege, but also being like her or his like extra guardian in a sense, and taking care of him whenever possible. So if there's any new tech that they can create, you know, maybe they're gonna bring it to him and let him know, like, hey, we got some new stuff for your suit. This will enable like upgrades, and then we can also see, you know, how Peter, you know, utilizes all that stuff. You know, is he going to utilize it well? Is he going to lose it? Is he like, and also with Stark Tech, it gets stolen quite often. So we might see that more often as well, because, you know, now that Stark's gone, there's less Iron Man in the world, and therefore it's not being, you know, handled.
Well, like, we know as well, Ironheart's coming. We know Armor Wars is coming, and we're probably going to get like a flash forward of his daughter being older, and, you know, she'll take the mantle of Iron Man down the road, I presume. And maybe Pepper will do some stuff with, what's hers called? Rescue or something like that, isn't it? Yeah. So, I think you might be right. I think Tom maybe will like relinquish the tech and kind of move into more of a Andrew Garfield kind of role. I think that's what he needs to do. Like, just even from watching Andrew's movie, like, you know, I just love how like intelligent he is, and like he really shows, like, even like just like him like making his shooters and stuff like that. Like, you can just see how much of a tech mind he has. And I think that's a better fit for Peter Parker rather than relying on Tony Stark's tech. You know, I think it's just far more interesting. I think Tom Holland's character really needs that, and he really needs some tragedy as well. And I think this movie's going to be full of it. So I'm so fucking excited, dude. I can't wait. I really can't wait.
I want everyone to die. I want everyone dead.
I want
whole new cast.
I want Ned dead, and I want Happy dead, and Aunt May dead as well. But I think that's too much.
Look at this guy.
We'll
Said for Zenyatta.
2 out of 3. Yeah, sorry, kill her as well. Yeah. I want the real Mary Jane Watson, please. Thank you.
Thank you. He says.
Or Gwen Stacy, like, you know, one or the other. I think a Gwen Stacy in the MCU would be pretty cool. You know.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, one we actually see, like, you know, go further than one movie.
Yeah,
would be nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true. I did hear rumors about Emma Stone returning somehow. I don't know how that would be possible, or if it's like a different version of her becoming Gwen. I wouldn't mind seeing her stay as Gwen. Like, I thought she's quite good as Gwen, so it'd be interesting to see Emma Stone with powers. You know.
Yeah.
I think it'd be quite interesting.
I crushed it hard on Emma Stone. Like, she cannot be playing that role. I'm like, oh my god, Andrew, like, Peter Parker's done for, bro.
Yeah.
Like, no wonder he's got to get rid of her. There's like Mary Jane stands no chance against Gwen if she's playing her.
Yeah, you know, they had Mary Jane Watson scenes shot for the second Andrew movie, and they cut them.
Really?
Yeah, they were like.
Who was playing her?
I don't even know the actress's name, but it was like a kind of white ginger girl, like, you know, the classic kind of like MJ kind of like character. But I can't remember the actress's name, but I saw an interview with her, and she was saying, yeah, look, I shot like 3 or 4 scenes. They were meant to put me in the movie, and obviously plans changed or whatever happened. Sony got involved and made changes as per usual. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think I don't know. Will we just go into Andrew's movie now? Do you want to just start breaking that down now?
Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, the Amazing Spider-Man, outside of his suit having a little problems for me, is really, I think, the best Spider-Man we have seen. And I was fully on board with the idea of, like, Spider-Man Homecoming is fixing Spider-Man. I don't know what I was thinking. I was caught up in the hype. When I go back and watch this movie, this is like almost a perfect Spider-Man movie. You know, the things I have against Tobey Maguire's is that, like, it's just kind of, the acting feels a little weird. It's a little corny. It's a little off, right? But, like, Andrew Garfield brings a fantastic Peter Parker. The story is amazing. This is the best Uncle Ben we've seen. This is the best Aunt May we've seen. Like, every piece of the Amazing Spider-Man is the best Spider-Man I think we've seen legitimately. Like, I absolutely love this Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's the best Spider-Man. He's the best Peter Parker. The suit is incredible. The only thing I don't like about the suit is the eyes. They're a bit too skinny in the first movie, and then they fix it in the second one. But the first one, his eyes are a bit... But what I kind of like about that at the same time is that it's kind of true to how a suit would go. Like, you know, you have a Mark 1 suit, and it's not the perfect suit, but, you know, he needs to make changes. He needs to make improvements and stuff. And I just love the fact that they go back and they actually give him the way bigger eyes for the second movie. But, like, I remember the first time I saw, there was, like, the very first picture that ever leaked. I don't know if you were, like, really into Spider-Man at the time, but, like, I was watching, like, the making of that movie because I was so interested to see a new Spider-Man and everything. And I remember the first picture I saw of Andrew's suit. I'm sure I can find it. But, like,
I got you, buddy.
It blew me away, bro. It blew me away.
I got you.
Is it him with the mask off walking down the street? No, there's like a picture. Go back onto Google there for a second.
Go back onto Google?
Yeah, that's like not his eyes from the first one, or even the second one.
Let's see if I can.
But I remember this. I remember seeing this picture so well, and I remember the suit blew me away. And I can't say the same for Tom Holland's suit. Like, the first time I saw that suit, I almost cried. I hated it so much. It was so bad when I first saw it. I could not believe how fucking bad it was.
It feels okay. Like, it like makes him look stubbier. Like, he's such a kind of a shorter dude and a stockier dude, right? And the suit just does Tom Holland no favors.
This is the picture I'm talking about. That used to be my wallpaper on my computer. Like, that's how amazing that picture is. Mm-hmm. Like, I love that suit. I was like, holy shit. Like, because it looks gritty. It looks rough. He looks like he's been through the wars. He's seen some shit. I'm like, this Peter Parker's going to be cool. You know, this looks like a serious movie. Like, it's a kind of like, I don't know, like Batman. I get like kind of like Christian Bale's Batman sort of vibes off it. Like, it looks dark. Like, you know, New York looks gritty and everything.
I love how they do like actual like spider type Anatomy type shit when he's like down in the tunnels and he's got all the webs and you hear the boing, boing,
Yeah.
the
And again, that's just showing Andrew's intelligence and how he's miles ahead of the other two.
I'm just surprised that Hoffman and Finto are both just gonna look past the whole parents in this movie thing. I thought that that's always been the biggest issue with this, is that they do that whole aspect is kind of its one-off, and it's really weird.
It was.
I mean, they make it work kind of, but imagine how much harder this movie hits with, like, say, a proper Ben story like we had from Tobey's.
I like the opening of the movie, and I like how you see how Peter got to May and Ben, but I think they need to stop it there. Like, the second movie just got, like, the opener of the second movie is like a whole kind of death scene for the parents and stuff, and you're like, I don't need to see this. Like, this isn't interesting. But I liked kind of meeting the parents, and I kind of thought, you know, okay, let's see how Peter got into the care of May and Ben, and then I thought they didn't really need to go anywhere else with it, but I suppose they kind of opened that door, so they needed to address it. But one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie is when Andrew goes over to Kirk Connor's house and he meets him for the first time, and he's like, I'm fucking oh my god, I can't think of the father's name. What was his name? Whatever his name is, the father's name. He's like, I'm his son. I'm Peter. I'm his son. And like, he's just looking at him, and when he sees him start to kind of like show off his smarts and stuff, I just love like he kind of steps back and is just like, wow, you really are your father's son. Like, and it's just a crazy moment because like he wasn't raised by him at all, but you can still see he became his father's son no matter what. Like, I just thought that was a beautiful scene. Like,
and like, yeah, you know, I agree with you, Kyle. Like, it is a big problem with me, and I think when I was seeing Homecoming for the first time, it was like I thought Sony did like kind of ruin Spider-Man's mythos. Like, not knowing his parents and his parents not being important to the story whatsoever is what's cool about Spider-Man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, they do get that kind of wrong, where it's like Spider-Man could being anybody and being a nobody, just a kid from Queens who like gets powers and like just kind of comes along, right? Like that is a really important aspect of Spider-Man. It lets you as a kid put yourself into there. Going back to it, maybe it's because I've kind of hashed that out in my mind as like being annoyed with it, that I just kind of like glossed it over now. Like, I've corrected, like I've dealt with that problem mentally.
They do kind of lean on it a lot throughout the movie though. Like, oh, I'm whatever Parker's son, and like when he's getting in with Dr. Connors and stuff, and it just I don't know. I think because they do so many other things right, like you said, it's easy to overlook it. But like, the thing I guess I've always felt is like each one of those movies, like with Tom's movies, you really get that sense of feeling that it's an actual fucking kid that's got these powers. With Andrew's movies, you really feel like he's got this intelligence and these smarts to do what Spider-Man had always done. And then with Tobey's movies, you really feel like the origin story was just done so proper. And I feel like if somehow you can merge all three of these into like a single project, it would be just so perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, like, could you imagine if they did Tobey's movies, but set around the time of Andrew's movies with an Andrew Garfield who was a bit younger? So he's like, you know what I mean? So he's younger.
If
but
Andrew would have been a little bit younger, dude,
yeah,
it would have hit a lot better.
Yeah, like, because that's just his version of Peter. He's so intelligent. He's kind of, and like, I don't personally have this problem, but a lot of people I've seen complain that like his version of Peter's almost too cool. He's a skateboarder, and you know, he's like a good looking dude with gray hair and all this stuff. Like, and it's kind of like he's not the little nerdy outcast, kind of like the way Tobey plays him. Like, Tobey's very much like the outcast, and I like that's a kind of true representation of Peter. But then Andrew brings all of the elements of the intelligence and just all the tech knowledge and everything, like, and you know, just like his CGI, his web swing and everything is just so much better. Like, I'll never forget sitting in the cinema the first time I saw that movie and seeing the POV fucking web shooting, and I was just like, oh my, I was losing my mind beautiful. Watching that. I was losing my mind because like so many years playing that PS2 Spider-Man game and everything, and like, you know, you feel like you're Spider-Man. Seeing that on the big screen, I lost my shit. Like, I was like, this is incredible. And I thought even like Andrew's comedy as Peter, I thought was very good as well. Like, you know, when he's like, oh no, a knife, my one weakness and stuff, like, you know, he's just playing around with thugs and stuff. I'm like, that's what Peter Parker's like, you know, he's a bit of a dickhead when he has the suit on. He thinks he's invincible.
And he like shrink. Yeah, I always kind of miss that we don't get that enough in the movies where you like, we get it a little bit in each movie, I guess, where like he'll string people up in like embarrassing fashions and leave them there for the cops to find them and stuff. And like that exact side that you were just mentioning, where he's like, "Oh no, a knife, my greatest weakness." We need more of that.
Yeah, I don't know if like Tom's version is able to do that, or like, you know, the character hasn't been built up. It'd kind of be strange now if he started acting like that, you know, because it's like he hasn't really been like that the whole time.
Like they tried to do it when he met the Marvel Avengers or whatever at the bank, but other than that, like not much.
Yeah, I was going to mention that scene actually. Yeah, because he's like, "Hey, Thor, nice to meet you guys," and all. Thor, Hulk, and all. Like, you know, they were missing at the time. He's like, "Oh, it's great to finally meet you guys."
Yeah, I think Tom's Spider-Man is a little more curious rather than charismatic. So it creates more question than, you know, answers or, you know, speculation. So when you get to Andrew's Spider-Man, it's like he already knows the deal. He knows what he wants to do. He's already got plans ahead. So he's so smart. He shows his intelligence even when he's in the suit, to the point where he knows like what maneuvers to take, like how to deal with enemies, how to even deal with the lizard.
Yeah, but honestly, Tom's Spider-Man comes off as almost dumb. Like he just seems like he's surprised, and all it seems like, oh, like just calm down. Like he's shocked about everything.
Yeah.
I also love Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, because out of all three of them, I think he's actually the only one who actually has the build and the physique of Spider-Man. Like he can just stand there in the suit and look like Spider-Man without doing anything. Like it's crazy how, because he's like kind of lanky, he's got those long arms. Like he just looks like a Spider-Man when he's in the suit, just standing there. And so like when he's in scenes where he's just got the suit on with the mask off or whatever, like he feels like Spider-Man. Where like Tom Holland really doesn't feel like Spider-Man unless they're doing like the CGI or the mask is on. And even at that, like if you go watch Homecoming, the CGI in it gets pretty bad, man. And the CGI in this one was it was spot on, dude. They nailed it. Like it looks so good all the time.
Yeah, like Andrew's web swinging through New York is just beautiful, and like his fight sequences, like, and as well, this movie has my favorite Stan Lee cameo as well. Stan with the big the earphones on, and he's just like sorting books in the library, and there's just carnage happening behind him. Like it's so good, dude. Like I love that. Like so good. Like
the car thug scene was beautiful, like in terms of like you see him like just shooting the web for a second,
close the door,
just preventing him from leaving. Like that was so cool.
He's so snappy. Like his Spider-Man's very snappy in fights. And I also like I can't get over watching Martin Sheen as Uncle Ben. I'm a big Martin Sheen fan in the first place.
Oh, so good.
Like, and I love that they actually have a lot of him in this movie. Like he's not just there and then gone. Like he's a big part of this movie. And fuck, man, he's good, dude. Like he seems like a real Queens dude. Like he seems like a working person. Who's got like that fatherly advice. And I adore his Uncle Ben. And I'm glad that they didn't do him in Homecoming, because how are you going to beat it at this point? Like you're not getting better than him.
No, you're right. And I love the Andrews May as well. She's great. She's great.
Sally Fields, fantastic in that role.
She's so good.
Wonderful.
Like both of them do a stellar job. And I even like the casting for Flash as well. Like Flash Thompson, like he's a proper bully.
He was
like
awesome.
He looks like he's so good. Like, and I was only talking with you about this, I think, during the week, Alex, saying like, you know, he's a dude that you could picture becoming like Agent Venom. Like I could see that. Like I don't see the kid from the MCU getting the symbiote. Like, like what? No, not a chance. Like, you know. Whereas that version of him, and like I know Joe Magliano was in the first one, and he was like a lot younger back then, but he fit the kind of bully role. But he looked 30 in high school. It was ridiculous. Like, but I could see him doing a Venom role more so. I like they can't touch Flash's Venom in the MCU. Like it just makes no sense. I'd love for them to introduce Flash in the Sony verse and actually have it being the dude from the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I think that would be really good, because I like that guy. He's good. He's a good actor, and he plays the part really well.
Yeah, the acting was spot on. It felt real. Like, and he, like, although he was trying to defend the kid, he was still bullied himself in terms of trying to defend the kid, and because he wasn't strong enough. But once he became Spider-Man, that's when he started acting like a jerk, which very reminiscent of the comics, where he's very like uncaring of how much power he actually has. And then that's another thing is that Uncle Ben did not say with great power comes great responsibility. He just gave him a talking to and told him, like, you had a job to do. If you have the power, you have a responsibility to do that. And so, because in the comics, it wasn't Uncle Ben that told him that with great power comes great responsibility. He learned that himself after losing Uncle Ben.
Mm. Yeah, dude, and again, Martin Sheen, when he turns to him in the school scene, where he's like, "Did you humiliate that boy?"
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, "Oh my god, dude!" Like, please.
Yeah.
Like, I was afraid to do anything wrong around my house that day. I was like, "That's fine. Are we good? We good?"
Such good acting, bro. Like, so good. And like, to be fair, like, I really enjoy like the scenes that even Toby has with Uncle Ben right before he dies. The car scenes like are good scenes as well. It's kind of strange, like, like the MCU version of Tom is missing a very, like, Uncle Ben is a vital part of Peter's life, so it is a bit strange that we haven't seen it. There haven't, and you can tell that version of Peter doesn't have any of that Uncle Ben wisdom. Like, it's not like we missed something. The wisdom's not there. Like, he's just very young. He's very kind of immature in a lot of cases. Like this version of Peter has a lot of growing up to do, and I think this movie is going to really, really drive that home, because obviously getting him ready for college and stuff. And I think he's going to have a big death in this movie, 100%. There will be at least one. I don't know.
Or multiple.
More. Yeah, might be more than one, but definitely.
I think we could get big deaths for, like, a big death for more than one Peter. Like, each Peter might either get a big death or multiple Peters get a big one.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you, like, when you meet Toby, that you find out that maybe Mary Jane is dead or something like that. Because I think there's going to be a real kind of bridge to the gap of what they've been doing since their movies ended, especially Toby. And, like, I know they went to Sam Raimi and they went to the director of the Amazing Spider-Man movies and tried to fill in the blanks of, like, where these villains would be kind of 7 or 8 years later. Like, we don't want to mess up where they would be. Like, what was your vision of where they would go? And that's what they're focusing on for this kind of Sinister Six thing. So that just tells me that they're being very clever and very careful of how they're telling these stories. And I think they're doing that because also they need to tell more Peter Parker stories. Which is so fucking exciting, dude. So exciting.
It is, and I think you're onto something about, like, we, of course, they wouldn't want to retell the Uncle Ben story, like, for the third time.
Yeah.
But the fact that they don't even reference it, like, it really feels like we're missing that in Peter Parker. Like, Aunt May doesn't even act like she misses Uncle Ben ever.
Yeah.
Like, she's out there just like, whatever, like,
she's flirting with waiters and going out with Happy and all this shit. Like, like, how long ago did Ben die? Like,
right. It's there's no reverence for Uncle Ben in this universe. There's no sense of grief or loss about it. It just feels like, and maybe I gotta rewatch Homecoming in that, right? But it just feels like Uncle Ben was non-existent in his life. Like, he might as well have been Peter's dad. Like, he just feels like he's not there.
Yeah.
In the MCU, and he needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like, it's Martin Sheen just steals the fucking show, and it's just, like, you're watching him, and, like, I just love. And I don't know if this is, like, Andrew per se, because, like, I've never really rated Andrew as an amazing actor, Like, I just think he was a good Peter Parker, and I think, I'm just sad that the movies didn't do as well as they could have done, but I don't think that's at all Andrew's fault. It's just the scripts themselves and the stories themselves were just not as good. But I'm, like, it seems like that scene in the school that you were talking about, it's like when you really see how good of a fucking actor he is, and just how well he plays Peter, and how well he's able to bounce off Uncle Ben. And even, like, I love the scenes at the end with Detective Stacy as well, where he's kind of like, stay away from her, please don't get her involved. And you can see he's crushed, he's destroyed, that he's dying in front of him, like. And then just the whole scenes of him staying away from Gwen and stuff, like, and it's like, Jesus, like, you believe it, like, you can feel the emotion, you can feel him wanting to be with her, but going, look, I made a promise to your dad, I can't break it. And that scene where, where she says the words, he made you promise, didn't he? Like, she just knows that breaks me every time, bro. Like, it's such a hard scene to watch, like, because you're just like, fuck, dude, because you know he loves her, and he's like a man, like he's an honorable man, so he's like, I have to stay away from her. But then obviously, you know, and this is where his character is going to be destroyed, because he knows he breaks that, and eventually leads to her death. Like, so it's just going to be very interesting to see. Like, I'm praying that we get a lot of Andrew in the new movie, because I would love to see how he's kind of progressed as a character after that death. You know, like, I just like what kind of a Spider-Man is he going to be? Like, it's crazy.
I mean, he definitely deserved a third film. I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but the way that movie is shot, that's like The Empire Strikes Back. It's like you start in a cold place, you ended in a colder place, man. And like, if he would have gotten a third movie out of that, like, it would have been so good to wrap his trilogy up in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
But like, dude, like the scene in this movie that really got me, it's almost hilarious at some point, is when all the crane operators, all the New Yorkers once again come together.
Yeah.
And like, Peter's part of the city, and like they're rooting for them. They're helping him. Like, they love Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And again, we are missing that.
No one in New York.
MCU.
Exactly. No one in
Like,
New York
we're
knows
missing it,
Spider-Man.
man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. One of my favorite scenes was actually the part where he's saving the kid. And, you know, I always have a gripe about, you know, Spider-Man taking off his mask in front of people. It's a kid. Like, you know, he's going to take his mask off and show him, like, hey, I'm a person just like you. Like, I need you to be brave and come with me. And I love that scene, because that worked perfectly. All other scenes, he didn't really have his, you know, his mask taken off for any reason other than when he got caught, which was very fitting.
I love that scene.
Especially because, and the way that they made it foreshadowed Captain Stacy's death, because it was just like, well, he's the only person who has seen him besides, you know, Lizard knowing that it was Peter. By the way, that's a really dumb move to just leave your camera there to get caught by the Lizard.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, your name's on the back.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I felt like when I was watching this first movie, I was really struck by how many people he was letting know that he was Spider-Man, because he lets Gwen know, like, right away too. Like, I'm Spider-Man. I'm gonna grab you by the waist with my. I'm like, all right, bro, we gotta keep this under wraps a little bit, bro. Like, we gotta keep this down low.
Chill,
like, what are we doing?
Like,
everyone knows.
We know it's Emma Stone, but chill, bro, chill.
Yeah, chill, brother.
Yeah, Bronxy in the chat. What's up, dude? He says Andrew's movies are actually fire, and I've been saying this the entire time. I don't understand why they get so much hate. He's the best Peter. He's got the best fucking Spidey suit, the best CGI, the best fight scenes. Like, the second movie is awful, but like, there's some amazing stuff in it. Like, the fight with Electro in it is just incredible. Like, you know, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful, and I love the scene where he's in Times Square, and you know, when Electro shoots the lightning at the people on the staircase in Times Square, and he does the dive, and you know, when he like splits the webs and stuff to stop people. Oh, bro, like, it's just so good. Like,
and again, using his mind, like using science, like to overcome, like what's going on, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I just feel like we were in a moment where all the MCU's movies were so fantastic at that point. We were loving everything, right?
Yeah.
And we were like, Marvel can do it better than anybody. And I think it wasn't that the first movie was bad, it's that the second one felt so bad that we're like, we got to get Spider-Man back at Marvel. Like, we got to move him over here, because after this first one, like, I don't remember it being that good, but going back and watching, I'm like, dude, this is my favorite Spider-Man movie. Like, I literally love everything about this movie.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't like the origin of Spider-Man and his parents for sure. But you know, that aside,
you can get over it.
You can move past it until the second movie, because there's so much in there.
Yeah.
But in this one, you can really get past it and just appreciate how good Andrew Garfield is as Spider-Man, how good Emma Stone is as Gwen Stacy. Dennis Leary plays he's great in the movie too. Like, the acting in this thing has no, like, this is one of the best casts in all of movies, or like comic book movies.
Yeah. No, it really is. It's a true representation of Spider-Man. What I heard happened between Andrew's Spider-Man 2 and like the MCU was Marvel went in and basically, in like a kind of, you know, I heard that they met up with like Sony reps in like a hotel somewhere, and they were like 2 days in a hotel like boardroom, like trying to sort out Spider-Man, and they basically killed Andrew's third movie in that room through negotiations. Sony were going ahead with it, and Marvel said, no, we want to reboot, we want to bring him into the MCU straight away and all this stuff. Like, I'm sure they've probably had these multiverse plans for a long time. I'm sure they've probably, maybe not to the scale of going, like, you know, we could have 3 Spider-Men in one movie, but I think that they were definitely planning some sort of crossover eventually. And I think that they just went, look, fuck it, let's just reboot. It makes sense to bring in a new kid now in Marvel, in the MCU, and I just think the powerhouse that was the MCU at the time, Sony just couldn't really, they had no bargaining power. They were kind of just like, you know, okay, like, we're gonna have to go with this, but we want a split, and we're gonna just try and reap up as much money as we can. You know, and that second Spider-Man movie did 1.1 billion, which to me is shocking because
What?
Yes, yes. The second, like Tom Holland's second movie, Far From Home, did 1.1 billion in the global.
Oh, I
box
thought you
office.
meant Amazing Spider-Man 2 did
No,
1.1 billion.
Oh, that
I was
would
like,
have
oh
been
my
funny.
god, bro! Like, how the hell did he not get a third movie? Could you imagine having $1 billion movie and them not giving you a third one? I would lose my mind. Oh my god! I thought that. Holy moly!
I'm actually going to check that right now because I'm usually very good at knowing what these movies do, but I don't know what the box office of that film was. I would actually say you'll be shocked at the number. Give me 1 second.
I would say 600 mil. 6 mil. 600 mil.
708.
I mean, 708.
That's not
Not
too
bad.
far. That's not too far away from a Billy, like, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because the movie has definitely made over $1 billion now with all of, like, the digital sales and the Blu-ray and everything like that, and all the TV rights and everything like that. Like, they've easily gone over $1 billion now, but I know they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about any of that. Like,
They got me for 2 rentals on every one of the movies this week because
there you go.
like, I was watching them for the podcast, right?
Yeah.
But then like my girl, she hadn't seen anything, so I had to re-rent everything again.
Oh no.
Like, got me, bro. I was like doubling up on everything this week.
Let's go.
So that was her first experience going through the Spider-Man universe at all, and she was like, she loved it. And she's like, Andrew Garfield's like fantastic here. I'm like, I know, I know. Like, he's so good. He's fantastic in this role.
The arguments that they have, the arguments that he has with his Uncle Ben and Aunt May, like, are just amazing. It's so good. Like, you actually feel the struggle that Peter feels from not knowing who exactly his parents were, and although he knows about them later on, he's still like upset with the fact that they kept it from him. And then, you know, after Uncle Ben's death, you see like Aunt May and Peter are like button heads because, you know, Peter has his powers now, and Aunt May's like, I'm by myself. Like, where are you? Like, I need to know where you are. Like, she's still a loving parent, and it's so good.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that scene where Uncle Ben, when Peter was like late and didn't pick up Aunt May, and when he's like, "Your aunt, my wife." I'm like, oh my god, when a family member calls someone their wife, it's like, oh,
yeah, shit's going down.
It's over.
Like you protect, like you like. You know, I'm protecting my other half here. Yeah, it's insane. Yeah. I know exactly.
My grandpa did that to me once. I was like, oh my god, dude. Like, so when I see that scene, I was like, I know. Oh my god. Like, he called my grandma his wife once to me. I was like, I'm sorry.
I love that though. You know, where he kind of like shows a bit of anger and he slams the door and the whole thing just collapses and he just turns around and you've had that moment where you're like, okay, I've stormed off. I have to actually just leave it. Like, but he wants to turn back, but he can't.
And just such good cinematography, like the break of the door, like him in between him and his aunt, like that's the breaking of the relationship.
Yeah.
And then Uncle Ben and Aunt May, like they stare back at each other through the door, like that, like the door breaking is like a culmination of like, this is Peter's beginning. Like, this is where he no longer is a child, and like he broke that child. Now he's an adult and he's going to be Spider-Man. Like, it's so good, bro. Like that, whoever directed this thing, like he is a comic lover. Like, he loves Spider-Man as a comic book, and it is written all over the DNA in this thing, man. Like, and from all this, the way that every scene's shot, the way Spider-Man moved around the city, he does like classic Spider-Man moves while he's in the air. Like, you know, he's got the foot over his arm, and like it's just like, the dude
he's checking his phone and everything. Like, oh, dude, it's unbelievable. Like, honestly, like, you know, it's as we keep saying, like it's very underrated. And I think people get really caught up on some really small, kind of finicky things that shouldn't really make a difference nowadays. Like, you know, Mark Webb, by the way, is the director. I love his name.
Mark Webb.
Mark Webb.
So Mark Webb.
Yeah, Webb.
He changed just for the movie. That's how committed he is.
Yeah.
So in terms of the villains, though, you know, I know that we all praised Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire. to have one of the best, villains and their origin and their upbringing and, the rise and fall. Rhys Ifans nails it with Dr. Connors.
Oh yeah.
He just absolutely brings it in and shows us like how important and how crazy people get, over the fact that they want to make themselves better and stronger. Yeah. And if they don't get help from the people that they need help from, they can go crazy.
Bro, are you telling me that if you lost an arm or a leg or anything and you were smart enough to grow it back, there's no way you wouldn't do it? Like, 100% you're doing it, like, So I fully relate to this character, and me growing up, like, the 90s, like, comic book, or sorry, the 90s, like, Spider-Man cartoon was my Bible as a child. Like, that's how I fell in love with Spider-Man. And I even just, like, I love his story in those cartoons. Like, he's one of the big main first villains that you see. And I think Mark Webb himself, or whoever wrote the script, I don't know if Mark Webb actually wrote the script or not, but whoever wrote the script, I feel that they were pulling on that as a reference a lot as well, like, because it's a lot of it is nearly like, from small screen to big screen, like, conversion, like, because it's really, really perfect, like, really perfect character development is crazy.
Yeah, and in the comics, Spider-Man helps Lizard, get over that infection and become human again, just like we see in the movie. And then we see, Connors kind of coming back to normal and being like, "Oh, geez, I'm about to lose my arm, but I got to help Peter up." Like, it's a very, very, like, just incredible moment of him showing, like, "Holy crap, I've done so much wrong. You put me in jail."
Yeah. Yeah.
But I know that, like, if they were to make another movie, and of course we're going to see him again, the incentive is probably in that movie to be like, "I will give you more serum so that you can maintain yourself as Lizard if you help me."
Yeah, like, from what like, the way I kind of perceived the new trailer and, like, kind of the newest footage that we've seen of him, like, he doesn't have the lab coat on anymore, so that kind of tells me that he's, like, full-blown Lizard. He's not going back to Connors anymore, like, he's transformed. So I'm very curious, and I hope that I know this movie has almost a 3-hour runtime, so I'm very curious to see, will they go into the gap of what these villains have been doing in the meantime? Like, as I said previously, we know that the directors, Mark Webb and Sam Raimi, have been, like, referenced and were involved in the character writing for this movie. So I'm very curious. I hope we kind of get to understand why he is the way he is now and how he's kind of left the lab coat behind and fully turned into Lizard. That's where I'm very interested in it, because, like, and even Sandman as well. It's like, how does Sandman, because at the end of Spider-Man 3, as we know now, like, he has a full-blown redemption arc, the same as Doc Ock did. All these characters seem to be out for revenge. So, like, what's happened in the gap is what I'm really, really excited to kind of find out in this movie. Like, it's very interesting.
I agree, man. And, like, I don't know, 3 hours runtime. That's crazy. I didn't realize it was gonna be that long.
It's 245.
245. Yeah, that's still beefy. Like, in-game was like what, 3 hours, right?
I think it was around. Yeah, it was around that.
So that's a lot of time to fill. That's not just, Spider-Man and the Sinister Six straight up.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Doctor Strange, and there's a lot of Doc Ock. Like, maybe Peter's jumping into the Sinister Six's universe and stuff. Like, and like maybe like the Peters don't come to him. Maybe he goes to them to help pull them into his universe to help beat. You know what I mean? Like, maybe something like that. Because that's a lot. That's a lot of time.
Yeah, I saw a breakdown of the last trailer, the second trailer, and when he's using he has, like, the sorcerer tech on his arm, and he's twisting his arm and stuff. People are saying that, like, what they think is potentially happening there is he's actually using that tech along with his webs to actually swing between multiverses and grab the Peters. So
that's nuts, bro.
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
Yeah. So that's that's what people are kind of speculating, and it makes a lot of sense when you think about it, because you see that scene, and then the scene at sunset where he's, like, swinging and he's around the electrical cables and stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if he's opening portals there and kind of swinging in to grab Toby, bring him back. Then he goes back, swings in, grabs Andrew, brings him back. Yeah,
Maybe,
crazy, dude.
maybe that's where he fights Doctor Strange, because we know from Tobey Maguire's, they're like, they try to name Doc Ock Doc Strange.
Yeah.
Like, no, that name's already taken.
Exactly.
So maybe he goes into Tobey's universe and fights Doctor Strange. Like,
Exactly. That wouldn't surprise me. That really
Right.
wouldn't surprise me. And then as well, those two movies, that's Sam Raimi's world, and Sam Raimi's doing Doctor Strange too. So it's like,
Right,
it
yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
We're cracking the code here, man. We got it all.
Hell yeah, dude. Did you hear as well? I only found out today that the critical reviews of the film, or the previews, they're only getting to see 40 minutes of the film. They're not showing them the full movie.
Awesome.
It is
Dude,
great.
if I was Marvel, after what happened to Eternals, I would never show critics another movie. Say, nope,
Yeah.
you guys can watch it with the rest of them, because Eternals was a way better movie than it got credit for.
Yeah.
For those people.
And I think it's a very clever ploy, because, for example, let's say, and I don't believe this to be true at all, but let's say that Andrew and Toby aren't in the movie, right? Which is complete bullshit. We know they are. But let's say they're not, right? What would happen? What would happen if all the critics went to see the film? They're going online 5 minutes after seeing it and going, "Oh my god, they're not in it." And then what happens? The hype is dead. So what I predict is going to happen here is they're going to see the first 40 minutes of the movie. In those first 40 minutes of the film, there's no other Spider-Man. And I'd say 5 minutes after they cut the movie for them, we're going to either get a reference to them, or, Doctor Strange's going to be like, "I found more Peter Parkers," or something like that. And then he's going to start going and recruiting them or whatever. But I think for those first 40 minutes, we'll get the intro to Doc Ock, we'll get Goblin back, that sort of thing. And then it's going to go into the Spideys, because from what I've heard, it's not going to be just Toby and Andrew showing up for the very last fight on Lady Liberty. I think there's going to be a lot more of them in the movie, second, third act sort of thing. So it would make sense that the first 45 minutes of the movie would not feature them, and that's all the critics are going to see. So they will come out of that movie and still not know whether Andrew or Thing are in the movie, and that keeps the hype alive. Everyone's still going, "Fuck yeah, I don't know if they're in it. We need to go see it." Whereas if they show the full movie, someone's gonna be like, "They're not in it," or "Yeah, they are in it." And then it kind of ruins it. They've still got the suspense going.
And as unlikely as it would be that they're not in the movie, right? You could totally see a scenario where it's just Doctor Strange and Doc Ock helping Peter fight all these people, right?
Yeah.
Or even they bring a Miles Morales up, Miles is in the movie and he gets bit and he brings him on, so he's fighting the scenes. There could be so many ways it could go. Really, it probably won't. It's probably just going to be the other two Spider-Man coming in. But yeah, if that was the storyline and the other two Spider-Men were not there,
I saw
the internet is rioting.
I saw there's been a lot of kind of TikToks about multiple Tom Hollands being the multiple Spider-Man, and I was only watching a breakdown today, and shout out to Josh from Den of Nerds, because he got it spot on. He basically just goes, "But why in the second trailer or in the TV spots that we've seen you hear Doc Ock talking to Strange, and he's like, 'Do you know Peter Parker?' And he's like, 'Yeah.' He's like, 'Is that Peter Parker there?' And he points at Tom Holland, and Ting goes, 'No, it's not him.' So that confirms that there is more than one Peter Parker that isn't Tom Holland. So
yeah, and he had that line. He's like, 'You're not Peter Parker.'
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
right.
Yeah. But could you imagine they did
Miles.
that? Could you imagine they did that to us? And they actually had 3 Tom Hollands, like what they did with Loki, all the Lokis,
Yeah, watch. They just had him record that line for the trailer just to throw us off like Marvel does.
Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Honestly, could you imagine three? How pissed off would you be, Hoffman, if there was 3 Tom Hollands?
I would love it. I would love it. Oh my god! Just because of how much the internet is so on board.
Yeah.
And I love people eating shit a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and all of us be eating shit, and I'm like, oh yeah, there we go.
You're like the Joker, dude. Where it's where Alfred's like, "Some people like to watch the world burn." That's you right there, dude.
I'll be looking around the movie theater. I'll stand up and look at everybody oh my god.
Yeah.
What do your faces look like right now in this moment?
To be very honest, I think that might have actually been the original plan, and I think that all of the hype that's been building up for the last 18 months made them do reshoots. There were reshoots for this film, and I think the reshoots had to involve Toby and Andrew. I think they were forced to put them in the movie. I don't think it was the original plan, but I think that they've said now, shit, if we don't have them in this movie, the fan base fucking will hate us. You know,
They'll go down.
I think they've been forced to put them in the film. No joke.
I can just imagine the meeting between like Kevin Feige and Bob Chapek. And
Yeah.
Chapek's writing the check. He's like, how much? Oh my God, we have to? Oh God, no.
Bro, like,
This is so much.
to be honest, like, I think I heard something along the lines of Toby asking for like 15 million or something to be in this movie. And I'm like, but like, they gave Robert Downey Jr. 15 million to be in Homecoming for 8 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's like, pay the fucking man his money. He's going to make this movie incredible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, give him the fucking money. He deserves it. Like, 100%. He's like, Toby, no matter what you say, Toby is like, he goes down in the Hall of Fame as like one of like the original kind of big screen superheroes that got us to where we are today. Whether you like his movies or not, you can't take that away from him. Like, he's incredible.
He established it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and he's still world-class actor. Like, you know, Great Gatsby. Like, go look at like what he's done after Spider-Man. He has a body of work. Like, he really stayed in there and like had some really good hits.
Yeah.
Like, he's not just Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So like, and he knows his way around the business. He's like, hey man, you want that script? 15 million. That's how much it's gonna cost you.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'd say he was on set for like a week. You know.
yeah.
There's been paparazzi pictures of him taken, and he's looking pretty like jacked as well. Like, it's like, you know, he got into shape. He hit the gym for about a month before that shooting. Like, you know, he went to LA to shoot something, and he was looking pretty yoked. Like, you know, it's like, come on, we know what you're doing, bro.
He saw Chris Hemsworth working out, and Chris Hemsworth was like, "Hey, you want in?" Started working together.
Yeah.
But I think it would be awesome though, like to have that same scene in Spider-Man 3 where he's just standing there and he's like, "They love me."
Yeah. I would. Yeah, because like you do know, like I can only imagine what the theater screens are going to be like if like Andrew Garfield takes that mask off and Toby takes the mask off. Like, there's going to be people screaming. It will, like, I personally, like, genuinely believe that it will like level the same thing as Steve Rogers catching the hammer. Like it's up there. It's up there with it. Like, it will be just one of those things in years to come where we'll be watching theater reactions that have been recorded to it. Like 100%. Yeah, it's going to be the stuff of legend. Like, I truly believe that this will be easily top 3 MCU. Easily. I think it's going to be Infinity War, Endgame, and this. Whatever order that falls in. Potentially Infinity War, this, and then Endgame, maybe, for me. Like, because like, I honestly, you know, I think we have spoke about it before, but I think Infinity War is like twice the movie that Endgame is. Like, Infinity War is just the best movie that Marvel have ever done.
It's the best front to back. Endgame was just so huge for me because the last fight scene was so
what it all
moving.
led
Like,
to, it's 20 years of storytelling or whatever, like, all to that point. Like,
literally, like, I still get chills thinking about Captain America. Everything sweeping behind him.
Yeah.
He's like, you know, Avengers assemble, and I'm like, I fucking started crying. I'm a grown man.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, he said it. Like,
yeah. But it's just, like, I'm like, you know, we've had this conversation before, but like, you know, like that, it's that scene that really makes you understand how much of a fucking superhero Steve Rogers is. That like, he has an entire like Shikari army and Thanos standing in front of him, and he's there with a half of a shield, and he's like limping, but he's like, let's fucking go. I'll try and take his all on myself. And then,
I could do this all day.
And then it's on your left, and you're just like, oh my god. Oh man. And then Chad comes out, and you're just like, oh no.
oh, the way they drop all the music out of it too, so it's just like, it's just hollow.
Yeah.
And you just see that.
You know,
like, oh man,
it's fucking incredible. Like, it's
great movie making, man. It's
cinema at
it's
its greatest.
Ugh.
Yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait for like my little lad to be older. That's that I can go through the entire MCU with him again, like, and just watch it with fresh eyes, almost, like, you know, just to be able to, like, I won't even watch the movie. I'll just be sitting watching his reactions the whole time.
I know.
Oh, dude, like, so
just
good.
get a mirror in front of the TV.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's just for me.
Yeah.
This
I'm
is
just
my
watching.
movie over here.
I'm watching you.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, so good.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to take some cough drops with me because I'm probably going to be shouting during the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think I might cry. I might cry. I'm gonna cry. I think I genuinely will cry. I'll be like Star Wars Theory when Luke Skywalker showed up at the end of Mando season 2. I'm gonna have tears down my face when Andrew and Toby show up. Like, it's just gonna be. It'll be one of the greatest cinematic moments for me ever.
They should release that last Mandalorian episode in the theaters. They should just do like you know what? I would be there. Like, oh man.
Yeah, that was special. It really was. That was so special. That was almost that was Christmas 2020, right? Or just before Christmas 2020?
Jesus Christ, was it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy.
Yeah. Like that. Like honestly watching like Star Wars Theory's reaction to that is just like, I didn't cry myself, but I proper jumped up out of my seat, and the couch right behind you that you see there, I was pacing back and forward because I just didn't know what to do. I was watching, I was like, oh my god, it's Luke Skywalker. Like I just could not sit down. I couldn't sit still. Pacing back and forward, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like, it was just mind-blowing. Like, and the fact that they kept that secret was just magic.
Yeah.
Magic. You know, they had scripts written, fake scripts, and they put Plo Koon into the show because Plo Koon was Dave Filoni's favorite character. So everyone on set, even to the day that they were recording, everyone was like, oh my god, Plo Koon's showing up. They had all the concept art. They had the blue and the yellow lightsabers and stuff. And like everyone was like, oh my god, Plo Koon's going to come out. And then Mark Hamill walked out and everyone was like, oh my god. Like even the people that were making the show didn't even know. Crazy, right. Dude. Crazy. Crazy.
I'll catch up eventually.
Oh my god. Annie's in the chat saying that she's not going to get to see the movie until January.
What?
Oh no. Please don't come to the podcast before then.
No spoilers, Annie.
Yeah, that's gonna be Spoilerville. I'm sorry. Maybe mute me for a month because I won't be able to stop talking about this fucking movie. I'm not gonna be able to stop.
I got tickets for like 3 p.m. I'm really hoping it's a good crowd because it's 3 p.m. in the afternoon. I'm hoping there's no kids there. Like that's why I was like, they're still gonna be in school. They still gotta finish the day out. It's just gonna be the adults.
Yeah. Oh, dude, like when the tickets went on sale on Monday, I was asleep and then I woke up and I had to start work and then it was like 9:20 and I was like, oh my god, the Spider-Man tickets, I'm going to jump on and try and get them now, thinking that like I'll definitely get tickets for the show I want to go to. Every single seat sold out and I was like, oh no. Then I went for the previous show, every single seat sold out. I was like, oh god, this is for the 15th. And then I was like, the latest show. And I was like, uh-oh. I was like, fuck. I was like, I can't go see this movie in a shitter theater. Like, I have to see it properly. So I have to go now on the 16th to see it. I'm going to miss it by a day because the tickets all sold out in 20 minutes.
Damn.
Insane, dude. Insane. Like, this movie is going to be huge.
At least we'll all be updated on the same day then.
This is what I'm saying, yeah. So I was so happy. my plan was to do a YouTube reaction video on the 15th, and just like spoiler free, just kind of just say how happy I was with it and all this sort of shit. But now I'm seeing it on the 16th. I'm just like, I'll just wait a day and then we could just do the podcast on the 17th or whatever, which will be kind of the official release day as well. So it'll be actually a good day to do it. I just want to see real quick if I can find out. I'm so curious to find out what the pre-sale ticket numbers are.
I think they reached 1 billion.
Fuck off.
From what I remember reading.
Oh my god, dude! This movie's doing 2 billion. I said it.
It's 3 billion.
I could have sworn I read an article saying that it was reaching like 1 billion in pre-sale. Because when I was checking AMC on my end, like everything was starting to like take up immediately. I had to pick seats as soon as possible. You can go to a local and probably still get tickets. But if you go to like the big time theaters like AMC or anything that has IMAX or Dolby Cinema, like those things are going to get taken up so quick.
Oh yeah,
and the cost is insane. It's like double the amount of a standard ticket.
That's not that doesn't happen for me. But I did hear you, Hoffman, saying that you were getting charged extra. That doesn't happen. It's a flat fee no matter what the movie is or anything over here. But that's crazy, dude, that they could charge. Yeah, no wonder they're going to make 1 billion because they're fucking charging people double.
That's what I like to see. I like to actually see like how many tickets are sold. That's the good number.
Yeah.
That's the good one. Because, I usually pay about $15 for a movie, right? This one was like $30 a pop. And I was like, what? But I was like, oh, okay, I guess. Like, you got me by the fucking spider nerds. Like, what am I going to do?
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's nothing you can do. You have to go see the film. So you're going to pay whatever needs to be paid. And they fucking know that as well. It's very cheap.
Maybe they gave me an NFT or something. I don't know about it.
Imagine you're sitting on a rare NFT. You don't even know it.
Yeah.
I can't find this number. I will search for it though because I'm very curious to see what the number is going to be.
Let me see.
Man,
eventually.
you know, you were saying 2.1 billion or whatever. It's going to pass 2 billion as Fenton's prediction.
I think
Spider-Man Far From Home grossed 1.1 billion.
Yeah.
And I think that like to double that would be insane. But
I think it can though, because that movie along with Spider-Man 3 is, in my opinion, the worst Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Like, they're not on par, but like it's Spider-Man 3 is the bottom of the list. Then maybe Amazing Spider-Man 2, then Tom's Spider-Man 2. They're the bottom 3. You know what I mean? So for a movie in the bottom 3 to do 1.1 billion, and it was like, you know, Sony or whatever, like this is going to be easily twice, 3 times the movie that Far From Home is. I truly believe it. Like twice the movie anyway. I think it does 2 billion globally.
Like I just, it's hard for me to say 2 billion before I see the movie.
Yeah.
Like if I see it and I'm like, this is a $2 billion movie, 100%.
Yeah.
But like, because if you go in there and it sucks, you know, just, you know, fingers crossed, like everything goes wrong and the movie just doesn't work and it's bad and you're walking out of there like, what the fuck? Which, let's be honest, it's not like we haven't done that in Phase 4. You know, if you walk out of there with that feeling, that's gonna kill it. But if you walk out of there saying like, that was amazing, I gotta get another ticket today, then yeah, probably $2 billion easily.
Yeah, like I think like no matter what, I'm gonna go see it with my lady, and then I think I'm probably gonna ask one of my dude friends. I'm just gonna be like, bro, do you want to go see the movie? Like, cause I'll need to see it again. So I think I'll have to watch it at least twice. And I think if it's incredible, I'll watch it more than twice. Like, you know, I could easily, like, the money's no object to me. Like, you know, just give me the time to go see it. Like,
yeah, I've seen Endgame 3 times, and I would have gone a fourth. It's just like I was watching other stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I seen it 3 times, and that was a long ass movie. And I was like, I'm in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Shoot.
I know you've got places to be, Hoffman. There's a D team meetup that I'm very jealous that I'm not part of. So
I'm meeting some of you fine people tonight.
Hell yeah, I'm so jealous. I wish I could be there, dude. So I think we've kind of covered the main bits. You know, it's a bit of a shorter podcast than we usually do, but you know, there wasn't really a terrible amount going on this week. So I think we can kind of end it there, unless anybody has anything they want to bring up or any questions
Real
in the
quick,
chat or anything.
Kirsten Dunst saying she wants to come back as Mary Jane.
I did see this, yeah. I did hear rumors that she was meant to, and then I actually think she's going to be in the movie. Putting it out there, because there were pictures of her taken by paparazzi very close to where they were shooting the reshoots, and she was with the girl from Daredevil, your one Karen Page. So, you know, I kind of think she'll be in it. I think she's just trying to build a little bit of hype. But I know Emma Stone was due to appear as well, but she was pregnant, heavily pregnant at the time of shooting, and she couldn't shoot. So I truly believe that they're all going to be in it. I think we're getting everything, and this is why I think it's a $2 billion movie, because it's going to literally it's going to break everything. It's going to just bring all of the Spider-Man back. It's going to bring all the villains back. It's going to bring all the supporting characters back, and Daredevil, fucking Kingpin, everybody. It's just the whole Spider-Man universe all on the big screen. Venom's going to be there. Like, it's fucking going to be crazy. Do you know what I mean? I can't, like, I don't want to talk about the Venom bits that I heard, but Jesus Christ, it's actually going to be so exciting. Like, it's crazy. Oh, man.
Yeah,
like,
hopefully they bring back Megliano as Venom.
Oh, my God.
They bring his Flash into it. He's Venom.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hoping for, baby.
God.
That'd be sweet, man. Like, honestly.
Right?
Or, like, even the Flash from Andrew's movies, I think would be a cool Flash as well. Like,
Well, yeah, but like Venom's like Eddie Brock's kind of like an older character, right? And like I think he's that age. And like you bring him back, and then you do The King is Black or whatever.
Yeah.
The latest one where he's like an older dude. Like, oh my god, it'd be so good, bro.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You should send it.
Absolutely.
So do you think when Emma Stone eventually comes back, do you think she's going to be standard Gwen or Spider Gwen? What do you think?
Standard for now, but maybe becomes Spider-Gwen, or I think we get obviously we're going to have to get a different, like a multiverse version of her, so maybe we get Gwen, like Spider-Gwen straight away.
I think if they do Spider-Gwen, they want to cast someone younger, because Emma Stone's like in her later 30s now, right? Like I think
Still
they would
looking great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I like, you know, she does feel like an adult. I think they would probably want to, you know, bring someone who's kind of, you know, Tom Holland's age or that vibe of age, you know.
Unless they do what they're kind of doing with the multiverse, where we kind of get one, which would be the Emma that we know, like the Emma Stone that we know, and then they kind of reboot later on. Like when they introduce Miles, they'll introduce a new Gwen, for, like, you know, a different, like the 616 Gwen or something like that, you know?
Yeah. Or yeah, and they bring it Spider Gwen. It's Emma Stone, and Andrew Garfield's like, "Wait, what? You're dead?" She's like, "No, I'm Spider Gwen."
Yeah. What do you mean? Hell yeah, I'm
Swing
Spider.
off happily ever after, you know?
Yeah, like that. How crazy would that be though? Like that'd be so nuts. Like, yeah. Like honestly, the possibilities are endless, and because of that fact, it's a $2 billion movie. I'm calling it now. I really think it.
All right.
Whew. Absolutely. 2 hours 45, bro. There's going to be so much to see that I'm going to need to see it like 4 times.
I'm chugging like 2 energy drinks before I go in there, bro. I can't fall asleep during this.
Yeah.
I fall asleep. Ugh.
It's nearly 3 hours though, so I'm kind of like, I don't really want to drink anything because I don't want to miss anything, so I don't want to have to go out to the bathroom, like, you know? Like, I fucking hate that.
I'm just glad I got recliner seats.
Same.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's going to be great. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here tonight. It's been a great cast, as always. Make sure you follow the guys on Twitch. All the links are below if you're on YouTube or anything like that. And we'll see you next week. We're going to be Hawkeye episode 4. We'll talk about the bad Andrew movie. We've had a lot of praise for Andrew this week, but we got to watch the bad one next week. But there are some good bits in it, so yeah. Anyway, guys, have a great night. Hoffman, enjoy meeting the crew.
It's gonna be so fun.
Try get some pictures or something for Discord or something, like, so we can kind of see everybody all together. I'd love to see it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, get some good memories.
Hell yeah, dude. All right, guys.
You got some good rest of your night.
Later.
Take care.
Bye.